Good evening and welcome to the League of Women Voters Candidate Forum for the April 1st election. Candidates for the Grand Rapids Town Board will be featured in this part of tonight's forum. My name is Gloria Kubishak and I represent the League of Women Voters and will be your moderator tonight. We are pleased to bring you this live broadcast on River Cities Community Access Television. Our viewing audience can call in their questions at 421-8248. That number is at the bottom of your screen. The League thanks the candidates for their willingness to run for office, and I would remind you that the League of Women Voters is nonpartisan, does not support any candidate or any political party. The candidates for Grand Rapids Town Board are Bill Clendenning, Kathy Elft, John Morse, and Jean Furman. Jean Furman could not be here tonight because of a pre-planned family trip. Earlier this evening, each candidate drew for the order of speaking. Each of them will be given 2 minutes for opening remarks, 2 minutes for closing remarks, and 2 minutes in which to answer the questions. Written questions from our studio audience and telephoned questions should be directed to the office and not to any particular candidate. We will begin now with opening statements. John Morse.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and the opportunity tonight to, actually, this is my first experience with any political office within the state of Wisconsin. I've been a resident of Wisconsin now for 6.5 years, and the past year within Grand Rapids community. Again, my name is John Morse. I'm originally born and raised in Northeast Texas. My family background is agricultural business, so it was very ironic that within the past time that there's the issues with the CAFO and things like that, that it did strike an interest in me. And through the various conversations where I work, which is Riverview Hospital, a lot of things, would come up and say, well, John, you're very opinionated on that subject. And I said, well, it's various topics. And then it became obvious that when I moved to Grand Rapids area, the reasons why I moved there was the community and just the environment and things. I think from actually seeing some of Bill's political campaign, some of the things is get involved. And that was the first thing that I decided is, why not get involved? So that's a reason why I'm a candidate for election for Grand Rapids Town Supervisor. And I have various thoughts on different issues, but whether we want to describe it as just being from a native Texan is, I sort of like to keep things simple and straightforward. So without getting any topics at this moment, I'll conclude with that's it for now.
Thank you very much, John Morse. Kathy Elft.
Good evening. Thank you, Gloria, and the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's forum. My name is Kathy Elft. I'm married. My husband, Dave, and I have lived in Grand Rapids for 18 years, where we've raised our 3 children. I'm a graduate of John Edwards High School in Port Edwards, and I have a bachelor's degree in business administration from UW-Oshkosh. I'm currently employed with the Wood County Health Department as their office manager. I am also the treasurer of our church. In the past 4 years, I've served proudly as your town board supervisor, during which time I was involved as a member or a chairperson of nearly every committee on the board, within the board. Prior to those years, I served as your town clerk. I am very familiar with town government, and I have brought a strong financial background and leadership experience. I'm a volunteer with the United Way of Inner Wisconsin and actively involved with Encourage Community Foundation, where I am one of several community facilitators equipped to present adaptive leadership skills and speak your piece tools. When asked why I'm running for office, it's simple. I value the lifestyle I have in Grand Rapids, and I don't want that to change. We have outstanding police and fire departments, a dedicated public works staff crew taking care of more than 100 miles of roads, strong zoning ordinances, and knowledgeable staff with very low taxes needed to support those services. It troubles me to see firsthand how misleading innuendos and unaccountable actions have fueled distrust and insecurities about those departments and the future of Grand Rapids. Instead, our focus should be on how we can continue to spend our tax dollars wisely, maintain high-quality roads, prioritize public safety, understand the needs of residents, and consider the impact any particular action would have on our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy Elft. Bill Clendenning.
Thank you. I am Bill Clendenning, and I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for giving the candidates the opportunity to inform the voters on their representative views. I have 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons and 6 grandchildren. Some of you have heard this before. I'm a Vietnam veteran and was honorably discharged after serving 6 years in the United States Navy. I belonged to the American Legion for 28 years. I'm a candidate for the town of Grand Rapids supervisor. I have lived in the town for 22 years. Since becoming a Grand Rapids supervisor, I have tried to stay in touch with the residents by informing them of various issues that have come before the committees and the town board. At election time, I have campaigned from house to house, asking and finding out what the voters are concerned about. I have always been passionate about citizens being able to speak at town committees and board meetings, no matter where they stand on the issue. Following the opening meetings law has always been something that I have adhered to and insisted on being done at the town board. As a town board, we are the closest to our people and should serve our residents based on their input. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Clendenning. Our first question, we will start with you, Kathy Elft. What are your top 3 concerns for the town of Grand Rapids?
Thank you, Gloria. My top 3 concerns for the town would be, first and foremost, concentrating and focusing on how we can use our tax dollars wisely. As I said in my opening statement, it's important to me that we provide quality services in our town, which would include streets, police and fire services, EMS, zoning, and solid waste recycling pickup. I am concerned about public safety. There are numerous types and 3,000 or more types of calls that come in through our police department. So public safety is important to me. The types of crimes that are committed in our town, as well as the number of crimes, concerns me. And lastly, seeing firsthand the consequences of misleading information. It's been a recent concern of mine. I think it's important that we need to make a positive shift in some of our behaviors and our responsibility as government leaders to hold ourselves accountable in our language and our actions.
Thank you, Kathy Elft. Bill Clendenning.
Well, one of the things is low taxes. I think it's a benefit to the residents of the town of Grand Rapids that we keep our taxes low, and they are low. That's why our average income in the town of Grand Rapids is listed at $63,000. So, and boundary agreements is another big issue. I think to stabilize the boundaries in the town of Grand Rapids is necessary. That's why with the Reggie, which is supported by the town of Grand Rapids, Reggie has not met with the town committee that is the economical committee. They have Dan Paulson, who is on that committee, has wanted to meet with Reggie, and they have not set up a meeting yet. And we at the town board have looked at boundary agreements, and I don't know where it's going to go yet, but we have to do that. The other thing is our police and fire department. Yes, they are great. Our road crews are good too, but we have to spend our money a little more wisely. It seems like we're all the time raising revenues for these departments, and I think it's got to slow down a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Clendenning. John Morris, what are your top 3 concerns for the town of Grand Rapids?
I think the top 3 major concerns can be various depending on who you listen to, but I think as far as the most important thing is if you start to think about with Grand Rapids, and for me particularly, why did I move there? The communities. I really enjoyed the past summer when I could actually do yard work and see families walking in the streets with their children, whether they be young families or what was very obvious, a grandparent with their grandchildren. That was the main reason why I wanted to put my roots into Grand Rapids. Once you start looking at those things, well, why Grand Rapids? As Bill mentioned, the tax rate. There's the reason why I did not purchase property in Rome. And also, when you review some of the things that within the state of Wisconsin where you can put your tax rate at, I do not agree that you have to max that out. Again, everyone wants to pay fewer, as far, I don't want to say less taxes, but we all have to pay what's is required, and that's why, as far as the tax rates that we're being charged, we need to be more fiscally responsible for those taxes and how we're spending that money. Other areas to look at is, again, keeping the people in the Grand Rapids area. Recreation. I heard earlier as far as the discussion of bike trails and things like that. I'm all for that as well. Police department and fire departments, as everyone agrees, I believe we have some of the greatest, some really good officers. And in fact, I enjoy the fact that when I drive past one of the officers, I see them, I can wave, they will wave back. That's just something I've used to growing up in a small East Texas community. Some of those things we can discuss later in particular. So thank you.
Thank you, John Morris. We'll begin with you, Bill Clendenning, on this next question. Some villages and town boards are considering an additional recycling collection option, which would be food waste and compost. How viable is this for the town board of Grand Rapids?
Well, I happen to be the chairman of the Recycling and Solid Waste Committee, and recycling is, I enjoy recycling, and I'd like to see more done. And I think it would be acceptable. I also note that our contract is up now with our current contract that we have for curbside pickup. And I see the city of Wisconsin Rapids. I would like to speak to them about it. They're thinking of changing theirs too. So we could probably work together on that also. The Choose to Reuse program, it's just running great in the town of Grand Rapids and the town of Saratoga. And I'm part of that and brought that to the town of Grand Rapids. I think it's a good idea, and I'd like to see it happen. At least it's working with other municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Clendenning. John Morris, do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I'm fine. In regards to recycling, for 12 years I lived in Austin, Texas, which is very into recycling. As Bill mentioned, we can always look at some of the campaign advertising. Think green. Keep, as far as recycling, I'm all for it. Anything that we can keep out of the landfills, 100% I'm behind it.
Thank you, John Morris. Kathy Elft.
Thank you. Recycling is important, and I'm all for that as well. But your question was directed towards the viability in Grand Rapids to have food waste or compost recycling. And what I have learned over time, our compost center or our compost site that we collaboratively use through the city of Wisconsin Rapids, the reason why we use it with them is because of the expense that's associated with maintaining our own compost site. So I'm all for recycling. I like that we collaborate with our neighboring municipality in providing that type of service, and I think we need to continue to do that.
Thank you, Kathy Elft. We'll begin with you, John Morris, on this question. How do you feel about the current medical emergency services being run out of the fire department? Expand them or decrease them?
Currently, as far as response, I think the area of concern is for the EMS to be able to accurately identify where they need to go to. As far as expanding or decreasing, I'd really need to research some more on that in regards to the expense to expand if needed, and that's about it there. Thank you.
Thank you, John Morris. Kathy Elft.
Thank you. I had some doubts about the EMS services that are provided out of the fire department until I attended a public safety meeting where we had a conversation with the fire chief and with others who helped to explain to us what the services, the types of services that are provided, the types of calls that they go out on, and the significance of the importance of having them there, sometimes being able to arrive at a home prior to the law enforcement showing up or prior to United Medical Services showing up. I think there's the importance of having our EMS services out of the fire department at this point is essential, and I'm in favor of that.
Thank you, Kathy Elf. Bill Clendenning.
I believe you said to expand them, or what was it?
The question goes, how do you feel about the current medical emergency services being run out of the fire department? Expand or decrease?
Oh, expand or decrease. I think they're good just the way they are right now. Down the road, maybe looking at expansion, yes. I don't believe it's necessary to decrease it. I think it's a good idea that that sometimes our EMS are there before the others, so I would not want to decrease it.
Thank you, Bill Clendenning. The next question, Kathy, will begin with you. What is your position on READY, which is the acronym for Regional Economic Development Initiative? I think Bill had referred to that earlier. They don't ask anything more except that.
Right. The acronym is REGI. That's how we've pronounced it.
Oh, okay.
And it's Regional Economic Growth Initiative, as you said. I am in favor of REGI. I see the need for economic growth within our community, and we need to move aggressively forward with regional economic growth. Working collaboratively on economic development issues can be done more effectively and efficiently rather than working independently. At the board, one of the town board meetings, the conversation came up with whether or not to support REGI, and it wasn't a unanimous support initially. I did support it because I could see the benefits that the town would have when you look at the community as a whole versus just what Grand Rapids has. There were some people who had some comments about our town doesn't have businesses, or businesses don't locate in our town, so why should we support REGI? Why should we be on board? And in contrast to that, we have several businesses in our town, many which are home occupations. Some of them employ 1 to 50 people. Midstate Tech employs much more. I can see the value that would come, whether Wisconsin Rapids has the business, whether Grand Rapids has it, whether Buren has it, or Port Edwards. It's significant that if we work together, we can move forward and continue to make our community an even stronger place to be.
Thank you, Kathy Elf. Bill Clendenning.
Yes, thank you. REGI came before the county board before it came before the town board. At the county board, REGI's presentation blasted the Saratoga CAFO farm and said that they were a bunch of naysayers, and also did not include it just was Southwood County, not Northwood County. And I thought that was unacceptable, that the REGI would come to the county would have to pay. And so I voted against it. Then REGI came to town of Grand Rapids, and at that meeting, I'm the only one that asked 7 questions about REGI and what they were doing. I attend the Economic Development Committee in Milwaukee. It's called Synergy. Synergy takes in Wood County, Marathon County. It takes in 4 different counties, including Adams County. And 31 of us met in Madison for 3 days on it. And not a thing was mentioned about REGI, but what Synergy was down there for was to get money from the state legislators. What REGI has done is got money from municipalities. The town of Grand Rapids is paying over $7,000 for REGI. We give REGI over $7,000, and we're the only town that is doing it. No other town has come on board to support REGI. We're the only one. And we're paying twice. We're paying at the county level. We're paying, because the county give them $30,000. The town of Grand Rapids give them $70,000. And not once did I hear that mentioned last night at the mayor's forum, anything about Reggie, and they give $20,000. So I think Reggie is a feel-good thing right now. We'll see where it develops.
Thank you, Bill Clendenning. John, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
In regards to Reggie, from what I'm hearing not only tonight, but what I've read, the thoughts of working with other communities, I'm all behind. It's some of the unnecessary expenses that are being paid out that I don't agree with. Again, what businesses that may work here in Wisconsin Rapids or in Buren and those areas is fine. The other thing that we need to look at is where those folks live, and that's where I'm really wanting. It's really about Grand Rapids, but again, when we're paying out fees that nobody else really is wanting to get on board with us or with other communities, then somebody needs to say, wait a minute, maybe we do need to pull back the reins and go, hey, oh. So in regards to Reggie, the principles behind it, I agree with, but how it's, as far as how things are going right now, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John Morris. We'll begin with you, Bill Clendenning, on this question. What do you believe is Grand Rapids' greatest asset, and how would you capitalize on it?
Its tax rate is great. Its community is great. Our roads weren't so great this year in the wintertime, but nor was a lot of other communities. It's just a great place to live. I'm very proud to be a supervisor in the town of Grand Rapids. As a matter of fact, Jess Eichhorn was my supervisor at Consolidated Papers, and he was the chairman of the town of Grand Rapids. And he's the one that got me interested in this. And I just love the town of Grand Rapids. I just keep our taxes low, and I think we'll get a lot of people.
Thank you, Bill. John Morris.
Again, I think I said it in my opening statements, when I first moved to Grand Rapids, the reasons why I fell in love with the area. And I think that's some things that we need to keep in mind. The low taxes, the environment that we have. Again, I'm sort of glad that we didn't really get into the CAFO subjects, but I think enough of that has been said. But I hope everyone realizes in Grand Rapids that things that happened in Saratoga, with discussion of the water supply and everything like that, the water doesn't go, oh, that's the boundaries between Saratoga and Grand Rapids. We can't go that direction. So enough said with that. Like I said, 1 year of being a Grand Rapids resident, I love where I live. Thank you.
Thank you, John Morris. Kathy.
There's concurrence up here today. Absolutely, it's our low tax rate that's one of our greatest assets of our town. But in hand with the lowest tax rates, or one of the lowest tax rates throughout Wood County, is the fact that we're able to provide the number and types of services that we do, and at that same time keep those tax rates down. Another great asset in our area is, of course, our lake, Lake Wazeecha, and the types of recreational activities around it. We've talked about biking and walking trails, and the Frisbee golf that is accessible to youth and adults as well. Our beaches, it's a great place to live, it's a great place to recreate, and it's a safe community to bring your family. I agree with John, it was one of the reasons why we built our home in Grand Rapids was because of the types of services that it provides. So it's a great place to be.
Thank you very much, Kathy Alft. This is our final question before we'll move to closing remarks. And we'll start with you, John Morris. Many communities are turning to alternatives to salt for winter roads. Things like beet juice, cheese brine. These communities are saving money and using community resources. Where is Grand Rapids in this process?
Well, it would be that question asked to this guy from Northeast Texas that is still trying to adjust to the winters that we have here. Again, being cost conscientious of salt and things like that, I wouldn't be against the thoughts of using beets and other products. But again, we still need to keep in mind what works, because the reason why they salt the roads is for safety and things like that. like I said, if there were any alternatives, I would definitely be open to reviewing them and at least hearing the concepts of how that's thought to work. But I'm not quite sure about as far as with the beets. I'm already trying to get used to going to the car wash every other week to wash the salt off my vehicle. I'm not sure what the beet juice would look like. So, thank you.
Thank you, John Morris. Kathy?
I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in that field at all and answer this question. What I would do is be looking to the expertise of our Public Works Chair and our Public Works Committee member to give me some advice, and then I would do my research with what may be the best interest and options for the town.
Thank you, Kathy Elf. Bill Clendenning?
Yes, I attended a seminar with our town chairman on this issue at the Mead Inn. It was a day-long seminar put on by the Wood County Highway Committee, in which this was discussed, and I think it's a great idea. I think the town of Grand Rapids should get involved in it, and I think Arnie Nystrom, our chairman, also agreed with that at the seminar. So it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Clendenning. We'll now move to closing remarks, and we'll start with you, Kathy Elft.
Thank you, Gloria. And again, thank you to the League of Women Voters. I appreciated this opportunity to let voters know a little bit more about me, Kathy Elft. As mentioned earlier, I'm proud to have served the town of Grand Rapids for these past 4 years as your town board supervisor, and I'd like to continue in that capacity. If reelected, I will continue to keep an open mind. I will pay attention to the whole picture, and I will communicate with positive intent. As I mentioned earlier, I believe we have a responsibility as government leaders to practice accountability in our language and in our actions. I would encourage your positive encouragement your positive engagement and interaction when you have concerns about what you're hearing or what you're seeing. Grand Rapids is a great place to live, great place to work, a great place to recreate. I will do my best to keep it that way, and I will do my best to represent you. On April 1st, I would appreciate your vote for Kathy Elft for Town Board Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Bill Clendenning?
Thank you. And I once again would like to thank the League of Women Voters for this forum. My position on the town board has always been geared toward making sure the taxpayers are informed and their hard-earned money is being spent wisely. There has been several issues recently that have brought this to the forefront. One of them is the December 6, 2012 referendum to raise the tax levy an additional $369,723 for the tax year 2013. That referendum was defeated by 3-1 not to have that increase. My position was still that this was an exorbitant tax increase, and I don't think it should have taken place, and I hope it never does. Another item of concern was the annual budget meeting in November of 2013. There was a strong effort to raise the tax levy rate per thousand to up to $3.01 above the $2.87 that was settled on. I was instrumental in introducing the ever so popular Choose to Reuse program in the town of Grand Rapids. This has saved thousands of pounds of items from entering the landfill. And that's my pride and joy is the Choose to Reuse program. And just to let you know, it's going to be on May 17th this year. And I will always advocate for the citizens of the town of Grand Rapids. And please vote for Bill Clendenning on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. John Morris, closing remarks.
Again, I'd like to also thank the League of Women Voters and the opportunity again this evening at this facility here to at least, for people who do not know me, since I work at the hospital, a lot of folks know me there. But I hope tonight that at least some things have been addressed by each of the candidates, that if, we appeal to you, vote for us. Vote for myself if you feel that I coincide with some of your beliefs and thoughts. But there's one thing I do want to say tonight. I've met Bill before, but I haven't got to meet Kathy. But the thing is, we pretty much all are on the same note, that we are proponents of Grand Rapids. We're also proponents of being fiscally responsible for the money that is brought in from taxes and things like that. We also agree upon that the services that need to be provided be the best that they can be. One of the things that I found very interesting when I interviewed at Riverview Hospital, and I was very shocked by the size, when you look at the size of the communities that are in the area, particularly with the hospital, the size of that hospital and the services that are provided, they just don't match, because the services that are provided you'd expect at a larger facility. The things about Grand Rapids that I love, it reminds me so much of growing up in East Texas. People getting out, people speaking to each other. I try not to get too emotional about that, but it's one of those that the three of us here, I hope everyone senses that. Again, April 1st, vote. Please get out and vote. That's the one thing that I think I feel the most about. And like I said, thank you, Bill, for, like I said, I read one of your campaigns. Get involved. Because if you stay at home, that's it. There's not a whole lot to say. But again, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, John Morris. Thank you to all of our candidates for the Grand Rapids Board Supervisors, Kathy Elft, Bill Clendenning, John Morris, and Jean Furman, who could not be here this evening. We want to thank River Cities Community Access for televising this program for us, to our league volunteers who were here tonight to help conduct all the business of the forum. And again, we remind all of our listeners and viewers, please vote April 1st. Thank you.
Good job.